The German army stands at the very gates of Moscow. In the Pacific, Japan seems utterly unstoppable. The entire world teeters on the brink of a fascist victory. But in that fateful year, 3 strategic decisions will forever alter the course of human history. Stalingrad, Midway, Normandy. How were these monumental decisions made? Who made them? And what truly turned the tide of the Second World War? Let's rewind to June of 1942. The Germans are pushing deep into Soviet territory, their eyes fixed on the rich Caucasian oil fields. Their plan is codenamed Operation Blue, a devastating strike designed to cripple the Soviet economy. But one city stands in their way: Stalingrad, situated on the vital Volga River. And here, the Germans make their first critical mistake. Their generals divide their forces, attempting to attack both the oil fields and the city simultaneously. This stretches their lines thin, leaving their flanks dangerously exposed, defended by less experienced Romanian and Italian troops. This becomes their fatal weakness. Soviet generals, Zhukov, Vasilevsky, and Voronov, spot this vulnerability immediately. They devise a counteroffensive, Operation Uranus. On November 19, 1942, Soviet forces unleash a massive assault, striking the weak flanks with overwhelming power. They punch through the lines and encircle the entire German Sixth Army inside the burning city of Stalingrad. The order comes directly from Berlin. Retreat is forbidden. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers are now trapped in a frozen hell, with no hope of escape or resupply. The battle for Stalingrad isn't just a military defeat for Germany, it's a psychological one. It shatters the myth of German invincibility and marks the beginning of the end on the Eastern Front. Now let's shift our focus across the globe to the vast Pacific theater. After the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Japan has been on a relentless rampage, conquering one territory after another. The Philippines have fallen. Singapore has fallen. Island after island succumbs to the rising sun, but deep in a basement in Hawaii, a team of American codebreakers at Station Hippo is working around the clock. Led by Commander Joseph Rochefort, they are painstakingly cracking Japan's complex naval codes. They intercept messages revealing a massive upcoming attack on a location the Japanese call AF. But where is AF? Admiral Chester Nimitz, the commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, hatches a brilliant plan. He has the American base on Midway Island broadcast an unencrypted message, falsely claiming their water purification system has broken down. Days later, Rochefort's team intercepts a new Japanese message. AF is having water problems. Bingo, the trap is set. They know Japan's target is Midway. The U.S. fleet, outnumbered but armed with this crucial intelligence, lies in ambush. On June 4, 1942, as the Japanese attack force approaches, American dive bombers find their targets. In a matter of hours, 4 of Japan's most powerful aircraft carriers are sunk, burning wrecks on the ocean floor. With that single blow, Japan's offensive power in the Pacific is permanently broken. For the first time, the balance of power shifts in favor of the Allies. But there's another, often overlooked decision that was just as critical: the Lend-Lease program. While Britain and the Soviet Union were struggling to survive under the immense pressure of the Nazi war machine, America launched an unprecedented logistical operation. Over $50 billion worth of weapons, food, medicine, and equipment were shipped across the Atlantic. This aid was the lifeline that kept Britain and the USSR in the fight. It bought them precious time. Years later, both Stalin and Khrushchev would admit that they could not have launched their massive war-winning offensives of 1944 and 1945 without this American support. It's a stark reminder that logistics, the unglamorous work of supply and transport, is what truly wins wars. Fast forward to January 1943. At the Casablanca Conference, President Roosevelt and Prime Minister Churchill make a bold public declaration. They demand the unconditional surrender of the Axis powers. This was a strategic move, designed to pressure the Nazis and, just as importantly, to reassure Stalin of the Allies' commitment to fighting until the very end. But another, more secret decision was made at that conference: where to invade mainland Europe. The most obvious choice was Calais. It was the closest point to Britain, but it was also the most heavily fortified section of coastline in the world. So the Allies chose a different target: the long, sandy beaches of Normandy. It was farther away but less defended. To make it work, they would need to build artificial harbors and launch the greatest deception operation in history. Codenamed Operation Bodyguard, this plan involved creating a phantom army, complete with inflatable tanks, fake radio traffic, and double agents spreading false intelligence to convince the Germans that the main invasion would, in fact, land at Calais. And it worked. When D-Day arrived on June 6, 1944, over 156,000 soldiers, supported by thousands of ships and aircraft, launched their surprise assault. The Germans were caught completely off guard. Their response was slow and confused. Their best divisions held back, still waiting for the real invasion at Calais. The Western Front was finally open. Just a few weeks later, on June 22, 1944, the Soviets launched their own colossal assault on the Eastern Front, Operation Bagration. Nearly 2.5 million soldiers smashed into the German lines. The German Army Group Center, the core of their eastern forces, was utterly obliterated. Caught between the advancing Allies in the west and the unstoppable Soviet tide in the east, Nazi Germany was crushed. The end was now inevitable. Wars are not won on battlefields alone. They are won in map rooms, in code-breaking facilities, in logistical hubs, and through sheer strategic brilliance, exploiting a weak flank at Stalingrad, breaking codes to set an ambush at Midway, building an industrial lifeline with Lend-Lease, executing a grand deception for Normandy. These were the decisions that won World War II. Which of these strategic choices do you think mattered the most? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into history's pivotal moments, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories that shaped our world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.